Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're moving on to episode 3 in our firearms maintenance and field strip series. Today we're going to go over the Cobra TS380. We're going to get more into that. But remember, whenever we're working with firearms, you have to remember the 5 weapon safety rules. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point the weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot. Keep your finger straightened off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Keep the weapon on safe until you intend to fire. And always know your target and what lies beyond. If you follow these 5 weapon safety rules in a conscious manner, no matter what you're doing with firearms, you're going to be safe and efficient. The only exception to that is when we have a weapon partially disassembled or fully disassembled, and we might have to put it in either fire or safe in order to move physical components out of the way so that we can mechanically reassemble the weapon, or maybe take it apart, depending on the weapon. And you're going to see that in the videos, and I'll point that out specifically. But in general, if you follow these weapon safety rules, you're going to be safe no matter where you are. So without further ado, let's jump into it. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is not meant to instruct or advise in any way, shape, or form. If you have a firearm that is having any difficulty, we urge you to reach out to a qualified gunsmith. Safety is of the utmost importance when you're around firearms and must be maintained at all times. The creator of this video and the social media in which it is found accepts zero responsibility or liability for anything you may or may not do when it comes to dealing with firearms. Safety is of the utmost importance. All right, let's get started on this Cobra 380 Auto. Today is one of the most interesting firearms that I own. It is a Cobra 380 Auto. The model is an FS 380. So it's very interesting. Cobra was a weapons manufacturer in Salt Lake City, Utah. They didn't do too great as far as their weapons go. This one jams several times every magazine. I am not a good enough gunsmith to determine why it jams so much, but I would say that the issue might be the magazine. This little aluminum mag. So yeah, I mean they're kind of cheaper materials. I don't think they're in business anymore, so I can't reach out to them for help. I think the magazine is the biggest problem. I don't even think that I can get magazines for it other than this one that I have. So it's really kind of a novelty weapon. I am not going to take it out and really shoot it until I can figure out what's going on. But like I said, I'm not a good enough of a gunsmith to figure it out. That is the Cobra. Every third shot or so will jam. Takes remedial action to get it to work. But the design is actually really simple. But to take it apart is almost as bad as a high point. So without further ado, let's jump into it. What you have on this weapon, well, first off, safety first. Magazine, no rounds there. Double check, there's nothing there. This doesn't have a magazine catch on it. It's interesting. Um, yeah, it's just a novelty, interesting weapon. Um, if I get it to shoot well, then I will report back, and I'll probably add some dots or something to the back of these sights to make them easier to see. But I mean, it was an inexpensive firearm. I think they were made to compete with High Point for price. So that's my opinion. I don't know. Maybe somebody from Cobra can reach out and kind of give me some ideas. So if you have any idea, or if you worked for Cobra, feel free to put comments on here. Tear me completely apart for everything I'm saying, because I'm just saying what I know. I actually bought this secondhand. I didn't buy it from an FFL or anything, so I didn't have a manual with it. It's just one of those things. Okay, but this weapon can be assembled and disassembled in either safe or on fire. So I like to play around with the slide, so I'd prefer to have it on fire just because it's a little easier. And we've already checked. We can see that there's nothing down in the chamber, and the magazine's been removed, so we're ready to go. So back here on the very back, you have this little retaining. Um, I'm not even sure what to call it. It's a retainer. We'll call it the slide retainer. Okay, if I caulk this, you can see the firing pin showed up right back there. If I pull the trigger, it comes forward. You can see it pop up, disappear. Okay, well, right in the center is the retainer. Now we're going to push the retainer in, okay, because of the way you'll see by the design why it does that. Now, while you're pushing this in, you got to pry up on the slide, and it takes a minute. It's kind of takes a little bit of love to get it to slide out. Now, boom, it popped up. Now put your finger over this. If you have a Cobra, because everything under here is spring loaded. So once you take the slide off, that can fly right out. So there's your retainer. So here's where we were pushing on the back end, and you can see it's hollow. It's a little aluminum piece, very interesting. Then there's a buffer spring. Oh, that's interesting. I'm getting a lot of little shavings of some kind just popping up around here. That's kind of bothersome. But nonetheless, there we go. And this, I don't shoot this very often because of the problems it has. Buffer springs right there. Just like the SR22, the barrel is built in to the frame. So you would punch it the same way with a rod. You take your 38, boom, boom, boom. This one is clean because I don't shoot it. So with that being said, that's all there is to it. It's really, really simple. But until I can figure out what is going on with it, or maybe the magazine, maybe I'll have to have a manufacturer build me a new magazine for it or something so I can give it a shot. No pun intended. Anyway, real quick, let's reassemble. Oh, one thing. Firing pin comes out. Boom. Firing pin gets laid out with these. It's got the buffer spring underneath, and then everything gets loaded into a channel in there, just like a high point. If you know anything about high points, it's very, very much the same. I mean, there are some similarities there. I wouldn't say that this is like a high point. I don't know if I would say it's better or worse. I'm a fan of high point. I've shot high points for years, ever since the original ones, like the Gen 1 995s that always failed, all the way up until my 4th Gen TS995. Anyway, neither here nor there. We're talking about the Cobra today. Just for fun, I'm going to put a little bit of CLP. So I'm going to take right here and I'm going to put CLP down that central channel. 2 drops is all I'm putting. Now the firing pin, it could be loaded either way, but we're going to do it the right way. So this little taper here, that's the way it's supposed to go. That's a retainer so that the spring doesn't fly off. That's why that's there. So I'm going to put that together in an assembly. And then right here, I'm going to stick all of that right up into the frame. And you can see the firing pin sticking out, and that's fine. Once it gets retained back into the frame of the weapon, the firing pin goes right where it's supposed to go. Super simple design. Maybe that was their downfall. They were too simple. I'm going to take these grips off one of these days. Oh man. Oh, that's what it is. There's something wrong with the grips. Grips are coming off. Anyway, whatever. So the buffer spring for the slide goes right there, just like most pistols, but this doesn't have a retaining rod. The spring is a bit thicker. If it doesn't go down all the way, if it sticks out like that, just keep pushing. It should be just slightly shorter than the barrel. Now this is the tricky part. Line up the barrel, and then you have to push. Because this is aluminum, I'm like using this little plastic pick. So you got to push it down. And then once you get, hold on, give me 1 second, please. So once you get, there you go. So now I've dropped it down to where the slide of the frame's going to come together, but it's got to be up a little bit, and then boom. That's all there is to it. So the Cobra, very, very unique weapon. I mean, it is kind of fun to shoot, but aside from the damage and the other issues that I have with it, it would be a fine firearm. It is very heavy, bulky. It's solid, like the high point pistols, and so it's gonna hold that position once you learn and train with it. But Cobra wasn't super bad. I think their biggest problem was they had a few failures and then marketing. I think that's really where they went wrong. Hopefully, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're coming back and, I'm completely off base with it. But if they do, that'll be pretty cool. I would love to get my hands on the actual manual. And from there, I can work on. Oh, that's okay. Noticing new things about it all the time. That's how often I take it out and shoot it. There are just things I notice every time I pull it out. And it's not that it's a bad firearm per se. I mean, I got it in a deal in kind of an estate sale, more of a divorce sale, and I managed to pick up a few things all bundled together. Um, but yes, anyway, that is the Cobra TS380. Um, if you guys have any more information, seriously, put it down in the comments. Let me know if I'm completely off base with this brand. I just don't know enough about it. I'm trying to be kind of educational and informational. But I, if I'm just going to be honest and say I don't know a ton about it. I only live 30 miles from Salt Lake, but I still don't know much about the Cobra. But if you know, please share. So go ahead and like, subscribe, comment down below, do all the things and help the channel out. And I will keep pumping out more videos. If there's anything in particular that you do want to see later on, um, after this series is done, I will be doing some more videos on things like martial arts and whatnot. So, hey, stay tuned and stay safe, y'all.